Welcome, fellow wanderers, to a delightful addition to the Global Journeys with Jill Dutton podcast, introducing Postcards, your passport to bite-sized travel tales. I'm Jill Dutton, your guide in this audio expedition, and I'm thrilled to embark on these journeys with you. In this new segment, Postcards, we're flipping through the vibrant pages of travel, offering you quick glimpses into the captivating world that awaits beyond our doorsteps. These audio snapshots are designed to be your pocket-sized companions, perfect for those moments when you yearn for a touch of wanderlust but are short on time. While our traditional full-length episodes will continue to immerse you in the rich narratives of the individuals I've encountered during my travels, Postcards steps into the spotlight as a frequent rendezvous with travel essentials, brief, insightful, and ready to transport you to far-flung corners of the globe. Without further ado, welcome to this installment of Postcards. Postcard, The Dead Runner's Toast by Elizabeth Lavis. The runners at 67 West are a ragtag bunch, half in the bag, half defrosted from their 5-kilometer early morning run through Buffalo's wind-whipped streets. If there are two things that Buffalonians love, it's slathering wing sauce on everything and waking up in the pale, frigid hours of Thanksgiving morning to participate in the longest-running turkey trot in the country. After the race, runners grab a quick beer and a banana at the convention center before heading a few blocks north to Chippewa Street. Buffalo's former red light district has been the haunt of the Belle Watling Running Club for decades and is home to Toast, known by some as the Dead Runner's Toast. The Dead Runner's Toast is a Belle Watling Running Club tradition. The Bells are one of the oldest running clubs in Buffalo, if not the oldest. The club was a great way for people to get together, and it produced some damn fine runners. In 1978, the Bells sent an elite team to the Boston Marathon, beating a larger running club from Atlanta. Founder Dick Sullivan himself ran 31 Boston marathons. 67 West has been the unofficial home of the Deadbeat Runner's Toast ever since its original spot, the House O'Quinn, went through a posh transformation a few years back. The House O'Quinn was Buffalo's oldest dive bar and the Bells' post-turkey trot haunt. According to Bill Donnelly, a longtime Belle and close friend of the late Dick Sullivan, the Bells would congregate at the House O'Quinn for celebratory red-eyes, a gnarly brew of tomato sauce and beer after the race. Bill remembers the House O'Quinn as a real hole-in-the-wall kind of place. Rumor has it that there was an autographed picture of Oma Menson, who played Belle Watling from Gone with the Wind, appropriately hanging on the wall. The House O'Quinn was also where Dick Sullivan first started the Toast back in the 1990s. It's unclear what the catalyst was, but once it started, the Dead Runner's Toast became as solidly Buffalonian as our ill-placed, ice-clogged Skyway and our heartbreaking sports teams. In the words of the late, great Dick Sullivan, the goal for next year is not to make the list. In the beginning, the list was just Bells who'd passed on. It's since grown to accompany the running community and longtime volunteers. It's becoming a way to pay homage to the dead, celebrate the living, and honor the long tradition of slogging through the slush and snow on Thanksgiving morning, all to take part in the fellowship that is the Buffalo running community. The 2021 Dead Runner's Toast was more somber than ever before. Dick Sullivan had died, and his absence was palpable. The raucous crowd of trotters quieted as Mary Magaffin, longtime Toast leader, handed out white wax candles with small paper circles affixed to catch the drips. Solemnly, Mary and Tim Zelasco, one of the youngest Bells, carried on Dick's tradition. Bill Donnelly reflected on the importance of tradition and friendship of the Dead Runner's Toast. Dick Sullivan was a runner who loved traditions, most of which he started himself, from posing Buffalo runners at the Belle Watling Water Tower in Boston to partying on Chippewa Street after the turkey trot, he said. The tradition that meant the most to Sully, and to those who took part in it, was remembering and honoring those running friends who have passed away. In bygone toasts with fewer names, the crowd would murmur, "Hear, hear," and raise their glasses of Lavis Blue or Flying Bison after each name. There are quite a few dead runners these days, so Tim and Mary read 6 or 7 before pausing. I recognize some of them. Tom Donnelly, Bill's brother, a pillar of the running community, and the key organizer of the turkey trot, is on the list. Linda Yalom, whose brutal murder at the hands of bike path rapist Altemio Sanchez inspired the Linda Yalom Safety Run, is another. Finally, Dick Sullivan himself, the original Belle, runner of marathons, drinker of red-eyes, and father of a huge segment of the running community, is called out. Afterward, Mary and Tim asked if there was anyone that they should add to the list for next year. For Tim Zalasco, the toast is an integral part of Thanksgiving tradition, camaraderie, and love. When I go to something like that, I feel like these are some of my closest friends, he said. I almost consider them family. You don't want to forget these old friends. You say their names once a year, and it almost brings them back to life again. Hear, hear. Elizabeth Lavis is an author and journalist with bylines in Lonely Planet, TripAdvisor, American Way, Canadian Traveler, and HuffPost, who has worked and lived on 4 different continents. Her portfolio includes in-depth interviews and local-driven, on-the-ground pieces. These days, you can find her at the intersection of Europe and Asia, exploring the Caucasus Mountains on multi-day treks, or planning her next beach vacation. The link to the original article is in the show notes. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Global Journeys with Jill Dutton. Until next time, may your travels be filled with endless curiosity, open-hearted encounters, and transformative adventures. Safe travels, fellow explorers, and keep wandering.